Let's all take a nice deep breath. Breathe all the way in and let go all the stress and everything. And another deep breath in and let go. All right. Hello. Hello, 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 hello. We are wanting to say hello to each and every one of you. However, we are recognizing that that could take a little bit of time in linear time, so we shall pass on that. But we are very delighted to be here with you from the angelic realm. And as I am saying, it is that I, as Archangel Raphael, are here not only with myself, but with the angelic realm as a whole and many divine beings of light who are in much gratitude for your willingness to be of service today to not only yourself, to love who it is that you are, which we are always wanting to remind you to do, but to be of service of your beautiful mother and the heartbeat of her, the Mother Earth, in which is your beautiful home that houses you while you're here temporarily in this body in which you are encased in for the moment, and to support the stabilizing of her energetic field, which in turn supports you in feeling more stabilized as well. It is our feeling as we are tuning into the collective of the human race as a whole that there has been a lot of disconnection and perhaps what many might call anxiety or fear, as there is a lot of changing happening. And we want to assure you and remind you that all is well. And we want to assure you that from the higher perspective, as you begin to zoom out a bit and look down upon the planet, you can see an enormous elevation and evolution of the collective in its frequency, moving more and more to a higher vibration of love. And that although sometimes from your perspective, as you perhaps might tune into what we call the black box or the news or certain situations, you might say, oh, things seem worse than ever. But we want to assure you that they're not. They're right on track and they're moving along. And as they are moving along, we want to remind you that there's so much happening that you cannot see from your perspective with the naked eye, which you have in the human vessel, which you're encased in. And you're starting to have more and more awareness that everything is vibration and frequency and energy, and that just because you cannot see something does not always mean that it is not there, just like many things that you cannot see, even with your tools that you have in your scientific community, will show you that they exist, so much like the bacteria, perhaps even on your skin. You cannot see it, but it is there. And so it is that in many old and ancient times and teachings, there was a lot of learning that took place in which you were gifted old wisdom and understanding that came from what many of you might describe as the mystery schools. And many of the people during that time had the privilege of being able to go and to sit with the great ascended ones. And you might label them today as beings of a very high order. Sometimes they can be those who have dedicated their entire life to meditation and to prayer, to sanctuary or to silence, in which they are deeply connected to the higher aspect of who it is that they are, spending their life being of service. And these beings have so much to convey and to share. But right now, it is that your access to this old and ancient ways and teachings and understanding is becoming accessible to you even during the time of what you might perceive as modern life, in which you do need to tap in and to meditate, to open your heart and to connect to the higher realms. But your access to these teachings is more available to you in many respects than it ever has been before. And you are starting to wake up to the remembering that you're so much more than what it is that you are seeing. And as you're doing that, you're remembering that there is energy not only around you, but around the planet. And the reason we wanted to gather all of you today from all over the world is because we want to support you in bringing in a new energy that is, in a sense, the best way we can describe it from your understanding of how you perceive things is that it is hovering in and around the planet, and it is needing to be tethered and to be brought in and to anchored in. So as you came into the earth, you came in through many dimensional frequencies. As you came into the toric field that is around the planet, which is an energetic field that has many different layers of what we're calling in this particular transmission grids. And these grids are the crystalline grid, which lies deep within the earth, which links all of the deep minerals and the crystals and the elementals and the energy of the groundedness of the earth itself, with a living library of inner energy and crystal systems and networks that communicate across the earth, tuning into the frequency of a energy that you would want to connect to, because it is extremely supportive in grounding and anchoring you. And this is what many of you might refer to as the crystalline grid. Now, this is different than what you might think of as the light grid, which is another grid that is more around the Earth system. And this one has different portals and different vortexes across the planet, in which many of you have felt called over the years to move, to go and to live somewhere where you feel the energy might be calling you, or you may feel that you have to get on a plane and you don't know why, to travel to some place, to some sacred site, to spend time there. You're not even sure why, but there's this inner knowing that pulls you. For we have taken Kelly and Casey on so many travels around the world in order to do this, to activate what we call the light codes that dwell within the DNA of the body, to remind you who it is that you are. And then as you gather these light codes, then you can support in activating them in others. And so some of these places you might be familiar with. They can be here in the United States, where we are moving through this vessel, in Mount Shasta, down in Telos. They can be in Sedona. They can be in the Four Corners. They can be around the globe in many places, in Tibet and in India. They can be in Machu Picchu and Stonehenge. They can be in the pyramids in Egypt, and so many familiar places that you are aware of in Scotland and Ireland, where the stones stand in circle and the pyramids rise, and the places of great sacredness, and where the deep ancient shamans and wise ones know of these places and bring you. And so as many have gathered and gone to these places in Australia and Uluru and all over the world, they have been able to activate within them different light codes, and as they traveled around, were able to assimilate that energy, integrate it into who it is that they are, and begin to share it with those who come into their energetic field. And so this work has been very powerful. However, it is based on receiving information from higher realms that is descended down and coming in order for you to receive these codes. But it is also about activating the codes that lie deep inside the earth and merging them together. And what's happening now is that the collective consciousness that you have all agreed upon, that is very much an energetic field, in a sense, around the planet, is accelerating. Its frequency is what you might call rising. It is moving more and more out of fear and more into love. It is moving into what many of you call unity consciousness, or the fifth dimensional, or the new earth. And as it is beginning to do this, what's happening is that the old structure of the old grid, in a sense, that is even many of them connected to these vortex points, is what we would call collapsing. And it is collapsing, not in a bad way, but in a sense they are shutting down, and new energy systems, new vortexes are opening that are bringing in a new and a higher frequency, that are descending information that is very supportive for planet Earth and for humanity as a whole, and they are anchoring them in. And so the reason which we are calling upon all of you today is because we are here to ask you, in the sense of favor, to be a conduit, like a bridge between this energetic field and the earth, and to bring it down and through your body systems, in which your chakra systems can assimilate them and carry them and this energy of light down into the earth, and to cord it down into the core of Mother Earth. And so we want to talk to you just for a moment about, before you are able to do that, it is that some of you that have come into this consciousness, have been born here, are very sensitive. Many of you who have tuned into this call are what those might call the light beings or light workers, but you also can be very sensitive to energies and can easily be overwhelmed by them. And because of that, as you came in and knew that you were here to support the earth and to support the collective in beginning to return to unity consciousness, to do your service work in order to unify and move the planet into a higher frequency, sometimes it may have been difficult for you to feel connected or anchored here, and that when certain life experiences that are part of the human experience were to occur, like a trauma or an emotional upset or an emotional pain, it was difficult for you to maintain your full connection to the current grid, which is the soup of collective consciousness, because it wasn't resonating with who it was you are, or was too painful, in which you may have felt unsafe. And when one feels unsafe in the soup of consciousness that they are in, they can often do something that is called, or is labeled perhaps in your psychological understanding, as dissociating or disconnecting. And what happens there is that some of the very most beautiful, sensitive light beings, and of course all of you are sensitive and beautiful and light and perfect and divine as you are, and there's no one here that is greater or less than another, but some beings that have come with a very open and porous heart system, in which they are here to be of service, felt it very difficult to maintain an equilibrium or to feel stabilized in the energetic collective consciousness. But there was a knowing that before they descended into form, but prior to coming here, that there would be a shift during their lifetime, in which the current, what you might even label as matrix or collective grid system that was put in place, that you anchored into as you were born, that during your lifetime there would be a transition in which it would shift. And as it is shifting, you're going to have a much easier time adapting to and connecting to this new system, because it's more in alignment with your frequency. But other beings who are holding a lot more density in their field may be feeling a very hard time adjusting to it. So two things are happening. Those who have come in and we're having a difficult time calibrating to the energetic collective field that is present during personal and emotional trauma or upset, may have disconnected from it. And what that means is that you have allowed your energy to leak or disconnect from the cords of the collective. In a sense, you have unplugged from it. But what happens then is your field is sort of floating all around. And when this is happening, it can create a feeling within yourself as being scattered or disorganized, feeling ungrounded, unable to be motivated to get moving forward, because you're not really holding and anchoring in all parts of self. So what we are wanting to do for all of you today that may be feeling that way and to be of service to you is to support you in going back up and gathering those parts, allowing them to know that the transition into the new grid that will allow you to feel more at ease and comfortable, in a sense safe, is occurring. And it is time now for you to collect and to bring back to yourself any parts that have in a sense leaked out or have disconnected. Sometimes if you have a trauma or an emotional upset of some sort, you might not have a memory of it. You say, well, I don't even remember that. Well, that's because a part of you disconnected from the grid. You literally uprooted your energetic field from the grid of the collective and allowed it to spill out, which we call leaking, in which in a sense it's floating around. And so those parts of self need to come back to be integrated into the wholeness of who it is that you are, so that you're feeling complete and grounded here in the current collective, what you might call grid system, in order now for us to bring in from a place of stability and wholeness, the new energy system that has a new frequency bandwidth that now you're starting to move into. So if the bandwidth of the frequency that collectively you all agreed upon was here, let's say let's say there were different layers to it, and some of you are down here in a denser vibration, not anyone listening to this, because if you're already tuning into this frequency, you're already on the threshold or the bridge between worlds, where you are a conduit of energy who have chosen to be here during this particular time on Earth in order to be of service, to accelerate the vibrational frequency on the planet and to bridge, in a sense, the higher fifth dimension with the earth realm and to unify them. And we want to talk for just a minute about unification, because many of you are always talking about that you have to unify the collective consciousness and bring it back into oneness consciousness, and that exactly is what is occurring. But we also want to remind you that you have to unify the earth and the fifth dimension as well, because it is as below, as above, so below, right? It's all of those energies that you are made up of the earth, that the earth lives and dwells within you, and without it, you have an umbilical cord connected to its core. Without it, you are unable to maintain life force within the vessel of the body. And so in order for you to recalibrate your field to feel anchored, it is very, very important for all of you to spend as much time outside in nature, connected to the earth and recalibrating with her field. If possible, even walking barefoot on the earth and really tuning in to her frequency and her vibration, to bowing down to her, to loving and adoring her, to moving back to old sacred ceremony and utilizing the elements of the fire and the water and the air and the earth and the ether, and to start to tune into her vibration, into her heartbeat, knowing that you must integrate the information that is stored in the library of her crystalline grid earth system into your field in order for you to integrate and be the bridge between what you might perceive as heaven and earth. And so one of the reasons that many, as we were talking about, have such a difficult time in their emotional and mental body, and there's so much emotional discordance on the planet and mental illness, is because there is a cutting, like a cutting of cords between the crystalline grid and the earth and between the higher frequencies, in which beings feel almost like they're just floating. They're not grounded and they're not fully connected to source, and they're leaking all of their energy. And this creates what might be perceived or labeled as mental illness or different types of disorders. And to support you to feeling back that you're bringing back all of those parts of self, it is very important to tune into and to ground and to spend time outside and to anchor deeply into Mother Earth and to feel her. Because what's happening is on the planet is that so many of you are very caught in technology and in quickening of the energetic field and time and space, that there is a disconnection from the crystalline grid of the earth and the anchoring to it. So the returning to the indigenous ways and the old teachings and the feeling of the heartbeat of Mother Earth is very supportive, as well as deep, clean eating and so on, and movement and breath, in order for the mental difficulties to come back into balance. You must reconnect with nature, and then call in the parts of self that got disconnected, that were not able to handle the vibration of the current collective consciousness. So after we're going to do that, which will just take a few moments, then what we're wanting to do is we want to pull in this new, and this is what I am needing all of you to do, and I'm asking this favor of you, especially those who live or near and dwell near specific vortexes and points across the globe, that you are going to start, you're going to pull in through the crown of your head down in this whole new energetic field that is hovering. And one of the ways we describe it is it's just like this loose, floating, beautiful, hovering new energy. And it is not the solar disk grid, but it is a diamond light grid, and it shimmers with diamonds, and it is activating unconditional love, and it is accelerating your vibration to a whole new level of unity. And it is ready to merge and to come in and to not dismantle, but to replace, in a sense, the old collective grid system and consciousness with this new, very light, luminescent energy that is like plasma, golden liquid, sparkling love. And this energy is here and present, and it is hovering all around Mother Earth. And we are so incredibly grateful that all of you across the globe are here today, because we're going to ask you to feel and to tap into it. And as you tap into it, we're going to ask you to bring it down through your body as you become the conduit or the bridge between it and the earth, gathering its energy and bringing it down through your systems and anchoring it into the geographical location of wherever it is that you are on the earth right now. And wherever you are is absolutely perfect. And as you begin to anchor it in, you are lighting up like a diamond light within the grid, within the core of the earth, that is shooting a liquid plasma love through the crystalline earth grid, creating a coding of information that is like a network or a root system of light that is moving through the entire earth, as Mother Earth feels all the love that you have for her in so much gratitude. And as it is moving all through her, she is going to take that same gorgeous energy and she's going to shoot it back up through you as you become the conduit for her to bring the energy back up through the top of your crown and out, as you hook in like a plug, like a switchboard, plugging in to this new gorgeous, beautiful crystalline light that is the new matrix of love consciousness based in the fifth dimensional energy. And as you hook into it, you will continue to do this regularly. And the more and more that you continue to do this, the more it will start to solidify, and the different points that are the space between where it is that you are and others listening to this will start to merge, and it will fill in until it becomes this gorgeous luminescent energy all around the globe that is vibrating with this new vibration. And as you continue to do that over time, more beings around the planet are going to start to feel it and begin to tune into it and become aware of it. And as more and more tune in, the stronger it will get. Instead of it being a very, very delicate and thin layer, it'll become a little bit stronger and stronger and thicker until it starts to descend and it starts to merge down as it meets completely the the current collective vibrational field, and it drops down into that, and eventually it fully merges until it replaces the collective consciousness that was put in place as you came in, and that begins to dissolve and it becomes your new experience. And that is what then becomes the reflection of the holographic experience which you are living, where your life begins to mirror and emanate, not only for yourself personally, but the collective, an entire new way of perceiving and being, based in unity, based in oneness, based in that your number one priority in your actions, your words, your thought, your behavior, and everything is based in love. And the idea of separation, of polarity, of division, of hierarchy, of greed, and all of that begins to fully dismantle and dissolve. And so this is of great service to be doing this work right now. And we are so delighted and grateful for you to do it. And so we will do this in a moment, but prior to doing that, we are wanting you to know that there is a lot of support right now from beings that are coming in, and that each of you are receiving a hand as others are coming around to wherever it is that you are, being a guiding light to support you in this process. Oh, it is that the little beings of the children that have been born for several years from the early 90s are the ones that have been the ones of a conduit to begin to pull this energy in. And there are enough beings now on the planet that are being born over and over that are anchoring in this new vibration, and that the new star children, or you might call them in your understanding as crystal children, are going to be fully anchored in and plugged into this new grid system. They are not plugging in any way to the old collective way of being. And so as they continue to grow in numbers, and as you who continue to consciously choose to connect to this new system, you will start to see that things will begin to change quite rapidly as your experience becomes something new. And so before I am doing that, we're just tuning in if there's something of great importance that is wanting to be asked. If not, we will gather your energy. If you are on this call and you are connected to a major energy center, we're wanting you to use your mind's eye to be tuning into that particular place, as that energy will be recycling. And we want to remind you that anytime you are going to a very powerful vortex on the planet, that the energy has already been shut down, and that the original point in where you would perhaps normally go to feel that energy has shifted and is not actually at the place where crowds of people are coming, but is off to the side a bit, and you have to be sensitive, utilizing discernment to tune into where it is. We also want to remind you that the motivation of doing this work must be completely and absolutely from a place of service, without any need for self-motivation. And that we want to remind you that civilizations in the past who have attempted to accelerate the vibration into a new consciousness. We're on the threshold of doing so, but part of ego and a sense of power got in the way. And so it is very important that the heart is pure, and that the process is done from a complete place of integrity and a willingness to be of service without asking for anything in return. All right. And so with that, as the beings are coming in great numbers right now, they are going to be supporting you in all reclaiming any parts of self that got disconnected through trauma in this human experience on Earth. So we're wanting you to take a nice deep breath. And we're wanting you to tune into your heart and begin to feel the beating of your heart. And as you're doing that, we're wanting you to ground your feet down into Mother Earth, feeling a deep sense of connection to her beauty and her love for you, moving your energy all the way down into her core as you're tethering yourself there. And as you are tethering yourself there, we want you to just take a moment and a nice deep breath, being completely and absolutely fully present as where it is that you are. And in your mind's eye, we want you to just look up above your crown, on the ceiling, wherever it is that you are. With your eyes closed, just sense your energetic field. And sense if there are parts of your field that have not felt safe for whatever reason and have disconnected from the wholeness of who you are. As you begin to tune into them, we want you to remind them and tell them that I am here as the angel Raphael and that the angelic realm is present. And then we want you to know that you are safe now to come back into the body and to return. I want you to start to bring any parts of self. You can even take your hand if you want and start gathering and calling back. I am calling back any parts of self that have been traumatized or have lost memory or are forgetting or had a difficult time tuning into the current collective consciousness, that felt overwhelmed, that was overly sensitive, that it felt overburdened and too much. All of those parts are welcome back, knowing that you're going to be plugging in now to a higher frequency that will be easier for them to assimilate. But in order to do that, and before doing that, you must bring back all the energy that could potentially be floating outside of your field, gathering it. And as you start to feel it coming toward you as it's moving toward the crown that is opening like a beautiful lotus and flower on the top of your head, like a vessel. And as it opens, it's a gorgeous chalice and it is receiving these parts. And these parts are coming down past the pineal gland, coming into the body, down through the throat. Breathing these parts back in and welcoming them home. Thank you for coming back to me. I'm so happy to see you. These parts are coming into the heart and down into the solar plexus and the sacral. As you bring them down into the feet, feeling your feet firmly on the ground or in the earth, bringing the root system all the way down through the clay and the mud, the crystal and the water and the fire into the deep iron core, the molten hot earth as it anchors itself there, knowing you are safe to fully have integrated all parts of self back in to your vessel, complete and whole. Knowing now that you are fully connected and reintegrated into the wholeness of the divine blueprint of who it is that you are. It is now time in this moment to bring in and to anchor this golden plasma liquid diamond light of the new crystalline grid of the fifth dimensional energy based in unconditional love with the vibration of equality, beauty, peace, harmony, connection. This new energy, I want you to tune into it. It's a new frequency. It is different than the collective consciousness you have been plugged into your entire life. This new bandwidth resonates with clarity. It is very clear. You can see clearly. It has vision for you to see clearly your mission and your work. There's great clarity. The oceans are clear and clean as the dolphins swim with joy. The coral reefs come back. The skies are clear and the clouds are puffy. The butterflies are flying and the bees are abundant. There is abundance for all, an equality and a sense of deep connection and unity. All beings' gifts are being expressed to their full capacity, sharing their light across the plains. The children are the great teachers. You move into the mystery schools to learn the ancient teachings and wisdom. The food systems are clean and clear as you take in the nutrients of Mother Earth and the sunlight and the photosynthesis that moves through the food as it comes into your body, nourishing your cells. Miracles are happening all around you. Your ability to communicate telepathically and tune into each other's vibration is strong and present. You take care of each other and the community and the children. You love and honor one another and yourself. You remember and see that you are divine and beautiful. You're completely connected to the higher source of all that is. You honor and cherish Mother Earth as you bow in gratitude for her blessings and gifts that she gives you each and every day. You drink her abundant, clean, and clear crystal water, nourishing your cells and awakening your DNA. All beings are cared for. All beings are seen and recognized as equal, divine beings of God. You embrace and know that you are divinity itself, not disconnected, that everything dwells and lives within. And you are the conduit between heaven and earth, the bridge of the rainbow light between the crystalline energy of the grid that supports Mother Earth's heartbeat and beauty and bliss to the crystalline, beautiful diamond matrix grid of the fifth dimensional energy. And as you feel this beautiful plasma, gorgeous liquid light of the highest frequency hovering across your planet, it is time now to bring it in. You might even take your hand and see if you can feel it. It's almost tangible, like a soft liquid light. Can you tap into and know that this frequency is one in which you choose with integrity and love to be of service, to anchor now into the planet, to be a conduit, to support a pillar, that you are a pillar across the globe, a pinpoint on the grid, lighting up today, anchoring in this new vibration. And as you do that, imagine this gorgeous energy gathering like a pool of a waterfall of energy that is starting now to pour down toward the top of your crown, coming into the spot in which was open as you were a baby, opening up that energy. And it is just pouring down into your head. And it is just rushing like golden, crystal, beautiful, sparkling light, like a waterfall of gorgeous energy is just washing over you. You're just being bathed in it. You don't even have to do anything but allow it and surrender to it, just washing through and around and in, up and down and all around you. You are being held in it. And as you feel it pouring down through your body and into your organs and your tissues, your cells, all parts of self in the blood and the nervous system, and keeps moving and rushing through. It is coating you in this light. Feel it moving down now through your feet and out your toes and the base of your feet, down all the way into the core of the earth, as you feel this light going and hitting all the old crystals in the libraries and the teachings where all this wisdom has been stored, opening up the codes, waking them up to be coming to the surface, to be taught, to be seen, to be remembered, to be known. And it is moving like this beautiful golden light throughout, like a system of nerves all through the entire earth as she feels it coming in, as she sucks it up like a dry earth receiving the rain of the nutrients of this light. She is so honored and grateful to receive it as it moves through her whole system. And as she receives it, it moves in and lights up diamond points all around the globe, in South America, in Argentina, and in Peru, in Lake Titicaca, and in Machu Picchu, in South Africa, and in Egypt, and in Europe, in Finland, and Sweden, and France, and England, and Glastonbury. It's there in Ireland, in the Stones, and in Scotland, in the Great Isles. It is moving into India, and Israel, and Pakistan, and Iran, and Turkey, and over and moving through into the Asian areas, and in Russia and in Japan, moving over into China. It is moving into North America, into the New York and California, into Canada, into the West and the East Coast, into Australia, and into New Zealand, into Antarctica, where the snow lives. It is moving throughout the entire globe like a gorgeous light, lighting everything up, wherever it is that any of you are and beyond, as it is connecting you all like a beautiful web of love together, integrating the higher vibrations of the new earth. Moving through every single cell, inside and out of the planet, in the great oceans and the sea, in the rivers and the ponds and the lakes, in the mountains. Now just sit in this new soup, in this new vibration, this new bandwidth that has been born onto the planet, knowing that you participated in anchoring it and bringing it in collectively together today, this day many of you call Valentine's Day, a day for love. What greater gift of love can one give than the gift of the frequency of unified light across the planet, anchoring the vibration of peace and joy, and a willingness to honor each other and to see one another, to put down greed, to put down the sense of separation, the sense of power, hierarchy, war and weapons, chemicals, and a sense of self. To let that matrix fall away, where it is no longer welcomed here, no longer part of your agreement. You're agreeing to something new, and you are beginning to create it here and now. With much gratitude and many blessings, thank you for your service. And we may ask of a great favor that you do this and think of this daily and regularly, knowing that each time you are willing to take the time to anchor in this new frequency, this new vibration, this new grid across the planet, inside it and out, that you are participating in your life work, your willingness to be of service for humanity, for peace and harmony, for the earth to restabilize and become balanced, and for your physical, emotional, and mental bodies to recalibrate to this new frequency in wholeness, purity, and love. Many blessings and good day. Oh, we're wanting you to hold the earth in your hands, knowing that you are the guardians. Just hold her, honor her, and love her. And as you love her, love yourself and love each other. Love, 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 and good day. Thank you, everyone, for that today and for joining in on bringing in that beautiful new energy onto the planet. I'm deeply grateful for your willingness to come in today and connect on the call. Thank you. We're going to be doing deeper work, more profound even than this, in the Starseed class. So if you want to join us, we'd love to have you. And next week, I think it would be great to focus on parenting and the new children coming in. Be a wonderful topic. So I'll catch you guys next Sunday. I love you. Thanks for joining. And I will see you later. All right. And thank you so much for your generous donations, everybody.